Eight Limbs Us is sponsored by Muay Nation and Onyx MMA in Singapore. This is fight 151 altogether, and it's against Baifern for Puiboonput, who I've fought a few times before. And this is at Taipei Stadium up in Chiang Mai. This was my first fight back in Chiang Mai after winning the Northern Belt quite a bit before this, but after winning that belt, and then actually the head of Taipei Stadium, who happens to be the head of the Northern Division, stripping me of that belt, saying I couldn't have it because I was foreign. I didn't get any fights up in Chiang Mai for a while, and I was very nervous that I was not going to be getting them. But I kept pushing, and finally, this was my first fight back in Chiang Mai after that, and it was happily with the same guy who had taken my belt, so he wasn't super sore at me. But it was interesting because the last fight I had had with Baifern at this stadium, I felt I'd pretty clearly won the fight, but she got the decision. Den, who was my trainer at Lana for a very long time, was in Scotland at the time, and he saw the fight online, and there were some discussions online directly after the fight about how it was an unfair decision. He was actually really irate about it. And I kind of didn't think about it too much, but just before this fight, like just before coming up to Chiang Mai for it, in Muay Siam, which is the newspaper that covers Muay Thai, they had this big headline that was like, "Did Baifern really beat Sylvie?" Totally dragging up the controversy again, as a way to advertise this fight, which was interesting. So this is our fourth fight together. She, at this point, had won 2. Both of those she had cut me in, and then I had won 1 over at a different stadium. So this was supposed to be the, like, settling the score from the last one. I did not fight at this stadium a whole lot back when I was out of Lana Muay Thai. But I like it. It's a good stadium. They put on good fights, and it's kind of a cool atmosphere. It can get really, really hot in there. The air does not move around. But the energy is cool, and like the spacing is cool. Baifern is tall. She's probably like 50 kilos. But she often fights fighters bigger than herself, which I think is cool. She's got a lot of fights. I think maybe like 120 or more. And she is often in these like 4-woman tournaments and things up north, so she's always with like the top tier, but she's usually undersized for those, so she has a bit of a harder time. But she's a knee fighter, but not necessarily a clinch fighter. Like, she doesn't really move in the clinch a lot, but she likes to clinch up and knee. So it's the difference between a knee fighter who clinches and a knee fighter who just knees. I've got some support from the current Lana Muay Thai crowd. That was cool to have people come out and watch. Sometimes when I'm fighting, it's just me in my corner. So it's nice to have some support as well. I like having Dang in my corner. He's a really good corner man. His energy is really good, and he's very like familiar because I was at Lana for 2.5 years. So it's like coming home and having your, uncle or something take care of you. It's very familiar. We were the very last fight of this night, so it was kind of late, and Baifern had quite a few people on the card from her gym. I think they had like 3 or 4 fighters on a 7-fight card. So she was actually alone in her corner right before coming up to the ring because they were in the ring with someone else. And it's cool to see fighters who have been there before, like they know what they're doing. So I used to be really shocked by fighters who would like wrap their own hands and do their own stuff and sit alone because I needed people to kind of take care of me and give me attention and make me not feel like I was going alone or whatever, and I don't need that anymore. But so I looked at people like that with admiration, well, shock for a long time, and then admiration, and now I've kind of become that. But looking over at her and seeing her just sitting quietly, not needing to have her whole group around her was was kind of cool to see. She's a very experienced fighter. And she's got a nice Muay. She's got a little bit of a bratty attitude, though. It's not terrible, but you'll see her when we come over and touch hands. She gives me this like very terse smile. She's a little bit bratty. When they do that thing across the ring with their arms, like a bird, that's comes from Garuda, from like a creation story. Here's that I don't want to be there smile. And that's Dang in my corner. So there's a lot of ceremony going into just getting the fight going, and a lot of it is helpful in it being really familiar, and so you just go through the motions, and some of it is, when you're very new, distracting, so it keeps you from being overly nervous. So I actually really enjoy the ceremonial parts of fighting. And you saw Baifern crack her back on the rope before the fight. That's something that people do to show how relaxed they are, or to waste time coming into the ring. You can see how long she is. So here, my hopping in was working well in this fight. I started doing it early and kept doing it. Sometimes I kind of like forget. But the times that we've fought before, I definitely have the advantage in the clinch, even though she's tall and very good at putting her hips in. Here she tried to head kick, and I put her down. So that's good for me, but they put a photo a few days after our fight of that head kick, and Pinu got pissed off about it. So she's actually working out quite a few weapons, which is nice. She's showing variety. You can see how much she puts her hips in the clinch. She definitely knows what she's doing, and those knees go deep when she pushes on them. She knows how to dramatize them in the way that she rocks her head back with her hips forward. She's showing good attitude, performance. And here she kind of stagnates me as I come in. So I'm still scoring, but it's an early round, so a lot of this doesn't matter too much. This is a bit of a feeling out. Blocking her kicks pretty well. But you can see she's fighting backwards already. So trying to take like a relaxed, come get me approach. And I'm coming after her, so we've established our roles already. Because she's tall, me being able to jump on the knee is really good. Put her down right on the bell. At Taipei, they do this really weird thing with the spotlight in the corner. They didn't used to do that when I fought up there before. But it's weird. It's like you're a rotisserie chicken or something. It's really hot in the corner with that light on you. I don't know if they do that for like the photographers or just because it looks cool for the audience or what. Another back crack. Go. So I've been working on this like back leg low kick for a while, and it was really coming together in this fight. Sometimes things are available to you and sometimes they're not. Mentally, you should be able to figure out how to access everything. Like here, I'm turning more in the clinch than often I'm able to. My lock is really good. Put her down from a neck lock. The last time we fought, she complained about that as though it was a back break, but I had grabbed her in the neck. And then here, I don't know where this came from. I started catching her kick and kind of sweeping it to the side and then hooking off of it. I do it like 10 times in this fight, but I think it comes from training with Pinu. He has bad knees, so I actually can't catch his kicks without hurting him. So I think that I developed that as a way to like catch his kicks without really catching his kicks. And then because I was relaxed, it was accessible. So there I just got tons of knees. She's coming after me. She knows that those are good points, but then she backs up again to show that she's not desperate. That was a good turn on her part, getting off the ropes. Here, I need to be bouncing or something. See how my position breaks and I'm kind of bent over? This is something that Diesel Noi complained to me about. He's like, why you got fish body when you're so strong? She tried to elbow me there. She was pissed, I think. Or aggressive. I don't know if she was actually emotionally involved. So here, I keep putting her in that corner, and then here I'm kind of stuck. Low kicks don't score, so that's me just kind of like posturing or whatever. It's kind of wasting a strike, but just string it together with other things to give it meaning. Here she puts me in the corner. You can see I have the lock, but because she's putting her hips in, and see how tall she's standing? That's what Diesel Noi wants me to do. So I'm actually kicking more in this fight than I normally do, which is cool. Hopping forward a bit there, but a little bit half-assed. But here I have a really good lock on her, so even though she's trying to stand tall and putting her hips in, because I've locked her head, her posture doesn't look great. Even though she's doing the right things, it just doesn't look good. So round 3 is generally where the fight really picks up, and you want to establish your lead so that you can kind of like stride in the last couple of rounds. I was feeling pretty good. You can see I'm not really breathing heavily. Dang is super calm. It's like no problem. But you don't know what your opponent is going to do in round 3, how they're going to try to pull ahead or how that's going to go. So you always just have to have your own plan, but be ready to respond to someone's increased energy. Some fighters do this to add time to the break. Refs generally let you do it. So here you can see she's not backing, well, now she's backing up, but she was standing her ground a little bit more than she had in previous rounds, because now she needs to score to take the lead. So she's kind of in backing up, she's putting it on me, but she's gonna need to throw something. There, she's trying to score on the other side when I catch her leg. And here I'm putting her in the corner that I've put her in a bunch of times, but I have to spin out. With my back to the rope like that, even though I'm scoring, I should spin out. But off-balancing her is good. The ref catches her before I can bend her down. And in the first round, she opened up with those head kicks, and then she totally left it alone because I dumped her, and now she's starting to teep more and kind of go up high, like returning to it. But you can see I'm kind of like I'm on the fence a little bit, like I'm standing right in front of her. There she got some good points. I think I scored on that. I don't know, I'm behind the ref. But here, the way I back up is not strong. The way she backs up is like, fucking come do it. The way I back up is like, oh, what am I doing? So I need to kind of work on that to be aware of what the kind of, the notes between the notes, how they play. Like here, getting stuck on her leg. Kevin filming. So there, that jump is good, especially because she's tall. And then that turn is really, really good. That scores high. So here I should be kneeing. I'm fighting for a position, but I need to keep scoring because I was getting so much movement in that last part. So I kind of lost it because I was trying to change my position. So round 3 is definitely mine, but it's not a single round kind of thing. So if you do well in 3, you have to do better in 4. Like it has to be an escalation. So, important round. She knows it. So here again, you can see the way that she's moving back looks really good, and she's coming back to these like high kicks. My guard is up, so it's okay, but they look good. And if I'm tired and my hands are coming down, that can totally be a knockout. You can see she's throwing more multiples as well. Like, she's kind of hopping there on the back because she didn't throw the second kick, but she was ready for it. And here she practically takes my back. That's a really good point for her, kneeing my back like that. So I'm following her more, I'm chasing a little bit, but she's striking more, and it's actually working for her. That was really good. Here I get her back with a turn and lock, but it kind of gets stuck. There, breaking her body position is good, but he actually yells at me as though it was a back break, which it wasn't. There's those multiple kicks again. She's trying to just like amp it up, and she's very tired. She's going hard. There, she finally gets a lock, and she's throwing multiple knees. So she's starting to take this round, even though I had the lead in 3, and definitely did better in 1 and 2. It's really just the last round in this one that you're looking at. It's a good low kick. So before I was putting her in that corner and chasing her into it and clinching her really well. There I put her in the corner and then just kind of stayed out. Like, I don't know why I'm staying there. Especially because the round is not mine yet. Maybe I'm trying to ride on round 3 a little bit. So that's Dang yelling at me to go. And then she kneed me in the groin, like the very last second was a really strong knee right in the crotch, but I'm wearing my guard, so it was alright, and I kind of gave her this look like, yeah, I'm protected there, don't worry about it. But so now the fight basically is 1 round to 1 round, but because her round came after mine, hers is actually a little bit better. So I have to take the lead now, even though it should be a little bit even. Here you see her trying to start early with her kind of like dancing, but she's a little bit intimidated by it. Here I'm working for position and not scoring, so I give up on that one and just try to move her. So he tells me that I was like tripping outside her leg. I don't think that's a foul, but clearly I was doing something. So here I'm kind of blocking with my knee, and I need to just be pumping those knees, like diesel Muay style. You just like turn into a thresher. There's 2 kicks, that's good. But so she's staying in more, which is good, but she's also trying to creep out to try to like take the lead a little bit. So I need to make a decision. I need to like go, or I need to score and move. I'm kind of like in a no man's land at the moment. So it's not the worst thing, but it's taking what was a pretty good lead for myself and running with it and turning it into a much closer fight than it should be. You can see how tired she is. That was blocked. So she's still got to come, but I'm coming. So she's trying to score. Here she locks pretty good, but she's too tired, so my lock is better, and I start... See how I'm breaking her position? She gets behind me, which is good, but not fully scoring. So here I decide to dance off. She looks at her corner, and her corner tells her to go, so now she's totally screwed. And she's gotta go. And my corner's just yelling, "Teep," which means you're in the lead, just teep, keep her off of you. Clearly not what I'm doing. But here I'm scoring. That's like 5 knees in a row to finish out the fight, so. I'm exhausting to fight. You can see how tired she is. I was pretty sure that I'd won this fight. Baifern's not a fan of me. So, Happy to take that, especially with the lead up to this fight being the like, this will decide whether or not that last decision was bullshit. And then you come out and you walk by this like string of bar seats, and this photographer wanted to get a picture of the Lana crew, so this is what Taipei looks like. That thing to my right is a bunch of live musicians, so they play the Muay Thai music that you're hearing. It's not recorded there, which is really cool. And so they have this like Taipei emblem where you take your photos. He's dang looking handsome, calling everyone over. And so these folks are all fighters at Lana right now, which is very cool. And I'd actually just clinched with Joe earlier, and I'd seen these two girls sparring each other earlier training, so it's very cool to have like the new Lana crowd there at the moment.